Hello friends, and Merry Christmas. What a better way to warm yourselves up on a cold December day than a hot cup of tea. I'll be spilling my lukewarm tea about an art organization and my time participating in their summer camp. But before I spill anything, I wanted to briefly talk about the artwork you're seeing on screen. I recently bought some Faber-Castell watercolor pencils and I wanted to try them out for this piece. You're seeing those on the screen, they're so nice. While there are a lot of blues in this picture, it turned out way more colorful than I actually anticipated, and I'm not necessarily sure how I feel about it. I mean, I like it, it's just not my favorite thing I've created. I try to balance out all of the colors and stuff with white further on in the piece. The pencils were super vibrant and easy to use, but I'm still not sure if I actually am using them correctly or not. And then finally I used my Kio Water Colors for the sky and the water because I was too afraid to use them with the pencils. This is the Chicago Skyline, by the way. You'll know how this relates in a bit. Just as a disclaimer, this video was not meant to offend anyone or shut down the program. That's the last thing that I want to happen. Ask anyone else who attended this camp and 99.99% of them will most likely have a better story to tell. I just wanted to make this video to share my experience and hopefully make the program better. With that said, what is this program? The program that I went to is called Governor School for the Arts, or GSA for short. You apply for the camp your sophomore year, and the camp actually starts the summer of your junior year. There are 7 different areas of studies called disciplines. The disciplines were instrumental music, vocal music, studio art, digital art, creative writing, acting, and dance. Out of my entire state, only 111 students made it into the program. I decided to do instrumental music because music is the career that I wanted and still want to pursue. The camp was 3 weeks long at a college campus that I was already interested in. The purpose of the camp was to expand your passion for your discipline and explore other disciplines. What could be so bad about that? Well, my friends, I'll tell you. Let's start with the biggest section of this video, the cons. I didn't really learn anything useful. Of course, I learned things, just not something that I could apply every day and with the area of work that I'm doing. At the time, I was the drum captain for my high school band, and this camp plowed right through our summer band camp. So I wouldn't be there, so my excuse was that I would learn so many things that I could take back to my line. That, of course, didn't happen. The things I learned could be written on a sticky note. How to close a piano lid, how to jazz improv, you hit the marimba the same way you hit a snare. The player who solos does not play the high notes and vice versa to preserve stamina, and solo etiquette. None of these things are useful during marching season, or even relative to the other seasons. At this time, we didn't even have a jazz band, and I couldn't play any of the instruments required for jazz band anyways. The website said we would be learning about music theory, which I am terrible at. I pictured us in a classroom, taking notes, and learning some fundamental theory things. That didn't happen either. We got a transposition cheat sheet, and that's about it. I mean, I'm grateful for that cheat sheet. I would just like to know how it worked. I imagined that our instruction would be more like a private lesson, and some students got that, like our string players and a flute. We spent a long time on jazz, arranging music, and performance etiquette. I would have liked to know how to arrange music, but we received little instruction on the subject. If anyone didn't know, I'm a percussionist, specifically a battery, which is just a fancy way of saying that I play the drums. My original fear was that I would be the only drummer there, which wasn't true, thankfully. The other drummer's name will be Bob for the sake of privacy. Bob was like me and typically only played drums. However, he auditioned on drum set and did his scales on a piano. I auditioned on a concert snare and did my scales on a xylophone. That being said, it would make more sense for Bob to play the songs with drum set in them, which was fine by me. I assumed I would play snare on songs without set. That didn't happen either. Instead, I was put on marimba the entire time. The only time I played snare was when I tried to play my audition piece. I'm not very comfortable with male instruments. I had been playing them for about 2 years maybe at the time, whereas everyone else had been playing for 5+ years. I read music at a very slow level, and I constantly felt extremely stressed about our music. I couldn't focus on the other music I brought because I was so worried about the mallet music. Every extra activity we had, I chose practice rooms. Unfortunately, you couldn't even hear me during our 2 concerts because I play the marimba, which is a soft instrument. Percussionists typically stand in the back, and I wasn't 100% comfortable with my music. I agree that it's good to get out of your comfort zone. That's the only way that you can grow as an artist, is to get out of it, but I was out of my comfort zone the entire time. It would have been nice to be able to step back in my comfort zone and recuperate for a bit. This seems like a kind of weird thing to complain about because it's not necessarily the camp's fault, it's just how our instrumentation happened. I was the one that was more qualified, I suppose, to play the marimba, but it would have been nice to switch back and forth. There were some songs that, had some auxiliary stuff or battery things that I could have played on. Maybe I just need to be more assertive. Not insertive, assertive. This exercise wasn't the organization's fault either, but I wanted to include it anyways. GSA seemed to constantly be a quest for me to prove myself. The first time our ensemble got to hear me play was on a failed transposition exercise. I wasn't very confident or comfortable with the exercise and ended up stopping halfway through. It also didn't help that I didn't know how to work the transposition sheet. Everybody seemed so confident and comfortable, whereas I didn't have the confidence to ask for help. Even when I did, I still don't understand what they were saying. Anyways, my excuse for my poor mallet skills was I don't play the instrument, which wasn't a lie, but when it came time for me to play my audition piece on the instrument I really did play, I couldn't redeem myself either. I'm lucky that I don't have severe performance anxiety. I've auditioned, competed, and performed many times, but this time was different. I could hardly control my hands and I couldn't focus. I started and stopped 3 times, and every time I kept thinking about how I wasn't going to make it through the music, how that cute boy is looking at me, and how everyone else had such great auditions. I ended up stopping and admitting defeat. After these performances, if you can call it that, I started questioning why I was at this camp. I didn't feel like I deserved to be there. I also thought that everyone realized that I couldn't perform by myself, which wasn't true. It was only true for this camp. I constantly felt like the weakest link while I was there, and a lot of it has to do with my self-esteem. I had the power to make my performances a success, but I was too focused on showing everyone that I could play and that I belonged, that I was talented. I don't blame GSA for my terrible performances, but I wanted to include these stories to show how I was feeling throughout the camp. Some disciplines seem to get more extra help and better experiences than the others. Every night we had a guest speaker or performer come that catered to a specific discipline. The actors got to work with a professional sword fighting company called Vixen on Guard for an entire day. They even got to interact with several theater majors, and they only got to interact with them while the others just kind of sat and watched. Most of the students got to interact first with guest speakers and greet them, but there wasn't an opportunity for the musicians, dancers, or artists to meet any of our speakers up close. When we went to Chicago, the actors and singers got to work with a cast member from the musical Waitress. During the Blue Man Group performance, we were specifically told that we did not have time to meet any of the members, which crushed me very hard. However, several disciplines and RAs got pictures with the Blue Man, even when they told us we would miss our submarine train if we didn't. This made me extremely salty. Literally the only thing I was excited to see in Chicago was the Blue Man Group. We did get to see them, of course, which was wonderful, but it seemed a little hypocritical to me. Just a little salt. Now that we have all that bad out of the way, let's talk about the good stuff. GSA had a lot of firsts for me. It was the first time I ever got to perform with strings instruments. It was incredible to encounter instruments that I never got to see before. This was the first time that I performed a concert where I only played mallet instruments. While I wasn't comfortable, I'd like to believe that it helped improve my sight reading skills. This was the first time I've ever played jazz. The student showcase gave me such a rush, even though you couldn't hear me. I got to meet people with even crazier dreams than I had. It felt nice to meet people with the same ambitions and passions. I've never been in a room with so many talented and passionate musicians before. Everyone was so extremely committed and talented, not to mention that I made some very strong bonds with not only my fellow musicians, but the other artists as well. I still talk to some of the GSA kids, and I look forward to seeing them again sometime soon. This was the first time that I've been in a big city like this. I've never experienced buildings this size, and I've actually never been outside my own time zone, so that was pretty cool. GSA may not have changed my life forever, but I did enjoy parts of it. I got my all-state music during the camp, and I also got a scholarship to my dream college. I got a really cool pin during the camp that my GSA brother used to propose to our director, which was really funny. I made some good friends. Shout out to the ones that dried my tears about my stairpiece. You guys are great. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed my tea time. Sorry for the constant complaining. I hope my points were semi-valid. I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.